Woo, woo, woo. It's Jen and it's Monday. Motivational Mental Health Awareness Monday. So, we're going to talk today, I'm going to talk today about self-awareness, and I'm going to let you know about a realization I had today while I was taking a spin class. But before I do that, make sure when you pop on here that you let me know you were here. It'd be great if you hit the share button, because the more people that see this, the better it is for me. And that means the more people will see my stuff in the future. But also just leave me a comment so that I know that you were here. So first of all, let me give you a little story on this morning. So this morning, well, let me back this up. 2 weeks ago, I started taking Hey Lucia. Hey Lucia. All the Lucy's are on. All my little Lucy's. You know I'm partial to that name because I got my own little Lucy who's at school. But anyway, so 2 weeks ago, I started taking a body pump class. And because I needed to do something different, I needed to add exercise into my, I needed to make exercise more regular, okay? Because I had been slacking in that area. And because now I have time during the day to go and exercise, I decided to try a new place that has lots of classes, and I was taking body pump for 2 weeks. But over the weekend and towards the end of last week, I started thinking maybe I need to try a different class with more cardio. Maybe that's what I need, because I really lack a lot of cardio in my weekly workout. So today I went and took a spin class. Okay. Now, when I went to my first body pump class at this place 2 weeks ago, I knew what I was getting into because I had taken a body pump class before. I never stuck through it. I never was a regular in body pump, but I knew what the class was. This was my very first spin class ever. Hey, Becky. And I was like, how bad could it be? It's like you're riding a bike, right? Oh my God. First of all, I learned, one, I am cardiovascularly not in shape, okay? Because I wanted to just like fall off the bike because it was, my butt hurt. Hey, Jen. Hey, Aaron. My butt was killing me. My thighs were burning. I was sweating, and I'm not a big sweater. I just was insanely like being kicked, okay? Like kicked in the butt over and over. So I'm on this spin bike, okay? I'm in the back of the class, and I'm on this spin bike, and I don't know what these people are putting their resistance at. I know I was at a 10, which I'm sure is probably half of what these people were doing. About 15 minutes into that class, I was like, what did you do? Why did you come to this class? What are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking? Like, you're not fit to do this class. You're not cut out for this class. This class is not for you. You know, self-doubt, kicking in, right? Kicking in. Self-doubt, negative talk, right? So I'm on this bike, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope this is like a 30-minute class. You know damn well it's going to be an hour class. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, please let it be a 30-minute class. Like, I can't make it. Right? So I'm on this bike, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and he's changing his intervals, and he's doing whatever it is that this spin instructor is having us do. And I seriously, 100% contemplated getting off that bike and leaving. I was in the back row. I was right by the door. No one in that class, except for the lady beside me and the instructor who was up front, would have even seen me leave, okay? And I'm legitimately in my head trying to talk myself into just getting off the bike and going, right? Then I started thinking about self-awareness, because I've been thinking about self-awareness all weekend, okay? It's been my topic of research this weekend, and I've been listening to some podcasts about self-awareness, and so I've been planning to talk about self-awareness. But while I'm on this bike, okay, while I'm on this spin bike today, I realize that I absolutely hate to be a beginner. I hate to be a novice. I hate to, I hate to be a beginner. I hate to be a novice. 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 I h not know. I hate to be the one who doesn't know. I hate to be the one who doesn't know how to set up the bike. I hate to be the one who isn't able to do a high resistance and maintain a high RPM. I hate to be the new person. I hate to be a beginner, and I hate to be a novice. Okay? So what does that mean? That means when I go do something, if I don't feel, it doesn't matter what other people around me perceive. If I don't feel like I am doing well at it, I quit. So the workouts that I stick to are the workouts that I feel like I'm doing well. Okay? They're not always the workouts that are pushing me because I'm doing it to a level that I feel comfortable and confident at. Should I feel comfortable and confident if I'm pushing myself? Should I feel comfortable and confident when I'm doing a workout that's challenging me? Probably not. Okay? And it's probably part of my problem is I'm doing workouts, whatever they may be, whether they're in my basement, or whether I go to a place and I do my workout. I'm doing these workouts and I feel empowered and I feel accomplished and I feel well, and that's why I like it and that's why I keep going back. When I go to a workout that I struggle with because my body's not conditioned for it, I have zero experience with it, I am a beginner, I am a novice, I am an amateur, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm supposed to think it's hard, right? You're supposed to think it's hard. It's supposed to be a challenge. If it's not a challenge, well, what's it doing for you, right? So I'm on this bike after my first 15 minutes of what am I doing? I need to get off this bike. I need to walk out of this class. This isn't for me. This isn't what I'm doing. Like, I'm not cut out for this. After I went through that whole play, that whole scenario in my head, I got to the scenario of what I just went through, the self-awareness. And I'm like, yes, Jen, this is supposed to be hard. You've never done it. You don't cycle. You don't take a spin class. You really don't even do cardio. Other than the cardio that we get at C-Box, but that's not a constant cardio, and it's different. Okay? So I'm talking through this, and I'm like, this is what you need. This is why you keep coming. You need these type of classes that are going to challenge you, because if it's not challenging you, it's not changing you, right? So me being able to see where I often fail and fall back and change, and specifically in exercise, is if it's not comfortable and confident for me to do it, I quit and I don't do it. Okay? So what does that have to do with what I want to talk about? Well, self-awareness is hard, okay? It's hard. And to expose your own vulnerabilities and to figure out what, to peel back the layers and to dig deep within yourself and find out where your behavior, your emotion, your reactions, your responses may or may not be impacting the situation around you is not easy, okay? And a lot of people think that they are self-aware, okay? But the truth is, the majority of us are not, okay? And if you really put in the work and you really try to look at yourself and dig within yourself and figure that out, you will find that you're not as self-aware as you think you are. And that's just the nature of like how we think and how we feel. I feel like I do have an above, I'm probably a middle with self-awareness. You know, I think majority of people are probably lower. Okay, I think that's just not based on anything. That's just what I think. I know that I have a greater level of self-awareness, and I only know that because I'm validated by that in therapy. So I started therapy in June, okay, of 2018. The reason why therapy worked so quickly for me, and by quickly I mean I started therapy on June 1st, 2018, okay? June 1st, 2018, I went to my very first therapy session, and I went to therapy. I sought out therapy specifically for emotional eating because I was tired of being obese. I had lost weight, I had gained weight, and I needed to figure out why I couldn't get back on track. Why couldn't I keep the weight off? Why couldn't I lose weight and keep it off? I lost 100 pounds, I gained it back, and now I can't lose it again. I can't get past it. I can't get past the fact that I gained it back. So that's why I went to therapy, okay? For emotional eating. I knew there was an emotional connection to food, so I went to therapy. So I started therapy June 1st of 2018. We did not even talk about eating. We did not talk about food until March of I started therapy in June of 2017. June 1st of 2017, we did not start talking about food or eating until March of 2018, okay? 8 months. I think that's quick, okay? You may not think that's quick, but for me, going into therapy specifically to say, hey, why can't I keep the weight off? Why can't I stay motivated to lose weight? What is my problem? That's why I went to therapy. We spent 8 months working on emotional triggers that I had, okay? And during that time, during that 8 months, my therapist had said to me on more than one occasion that I do have a good level of self-awareness. I call myself out on my own BS a lot, okay? And I have from day one. But there were still lots of parts of that process during those 8 months where it was hard. It was hard because behaviors that I had that I validated and I thought were legitimate and I was validated in those behaviors, in those reactions, in those responses. I had to be willing to accept that that's not always true. Okay? And let me give you an example. When I was in the height of all this at work, where I was working, I got angry a lot. Okay? I got angry a lot. And when I say angry, I don't mean like I was just ticked off and I couldn't wait for Friday. Like I was angry, okay, where it would impact my heart rate. It would impact how I felt, like inside. I would internalize it and I would just feel this discontent, this almost like internal rage, okay? And I was just so angry. And when I would get like that, I would have to tell the person who made me angry anything and everything I needed to make myself feel better, okay? So if I was angry at this person, okay, you were the one who made me get like this because you lied, because you change your mind all the time, because you're disorganized, I would feel like I was validated in telling them that, hey, you did this, and because you are lazy and you're not organized, and because you don't do this, and because you don't do this right, and because you said this is why I'm like that. And I would validate my reaction and my response and my feelings based on their behavior, okay? And when we would work through that in therapy, and she would say, but why do you have to do that? Why do you have to tell that person that? And I'm like, well, because they should know. They should know that they're wrong. They need to know that they're wrong. It took quite a few weeks, quite a few months for me to realize not everything deserves a reaction, okay? And that was hard because I spent my whole life reacting, okay? I spent my whole life reacting. The root of that was from my anxiety, okay? Which I would have never, ever guessed that, okay? Going into therapy. I didn't start therapy for anxiety. To me, anxiety was normal. It was something I always had. I did not have an official diagnosis. I knew that I was an anxious person. I knew that I had obsessive worries. I knew that what I was doing on a regular basis in my mind was not something that everybody did, but I never sought treatment for it. I never went to the doctor for it. I just took it as my normal, and that's how I lived. Okay, so when I went to therapy, I didn't go to therapy for anxiety. I went to therapy for my weight. Okay, but during all this, my therapy was really about anxiety because that was the root to of my eating. Okay, so because I was willing and I wanted change. Okay, if you want change, if you are in it, if right now in your life, if there is something that is routinely making you angry, sad, disgusted, annoyed, if it's not bringing you joy and happiness and it's on a routine basis, okay, whether that's work, whether that's home, whether that's spouse, whether that's weight, whether that's exercise, doesn't matter, whatever that is, okay, you have to be willing to self-evaluate, because a lot of times it's you. Okay, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Yes, these people may have made me angry. This person may not do their job well. This person may lie to you. This person may do that. That may be true. Okay, but the unhappiness part of that, the part that's causing you the anger or the sadness or the reaction that you're constantly giving, that's you. Okay, so being able to work on how you respond and how you react and how, maybe you always do react that way. And maybe that's not okay. And maybe that's why people are afraid to talk to you about certain things. That was what it was for me. Okay, I was unapproachable in a lot of situations because I would react, okay, versus respond. And again, it took 8 months. 8 months to get that under control. I feel like that was quick. I feel like if I wasn't self-aware, if I wasn't truly willing to change, okay, if I didn't really want things to be different, okay, if I wasn't willing to work on myself and the things in my life that I do and how other people perceive them, then it would not have been as quick as 8 months. It could have been, who knows? It could have been 8 years. I don't know. You have to be willing. If you're not willing and wanting change, nothing's going to change. You know what I mean? You have to be willing. You have to want it. And I think that's very, very difficult. But if you are constantly complaining about how you live, the money you make, how heavy you are, how much you weigh, or you need to lose weight, you need to gain weight, you don't have time to exercise, you don't have a clean house, you don't have a new car, you don't, whatever. If you're constantly complaining about all these things, complaining about them and feeling sorry for yourself and accepting that, hey, this is just how my life is, well, guess what? That's how your life's going to be because you're accepting it. When I made the decision June 1st of 2017 to go to therapy, it was because I was not accepting this. I was not accepting 336 pounds for the rest of my life. I was not accepting the miserable state I was in, okay? I was miserable, and not just because of the weight. I was miserable because I thought it was because of the weight, but I was miserable because my anxiety had gotten so bad that I was just like a ticking time bomb all the time. I was constantly in a state of agitation. Every little thing made me angry, which made me respond, which continued the cycle. Okay, things could never get better that way. I had to work on me. And when I did that, and I'm going to tell you, there were many times that I roll my eyes at my therapist, and she'll tell you. If you haven't watched my video that I posted, it's on YouTube, Fly to Fabulous 18. go to my YouTube channel, or you can scroll through my Facebook if you want, but if you go to my YouTube channel, Flabdefabulous18, I posted the video recording of me and my therapist talking at the bariatric support group the other week, okay? And you'll see our dynamic is, she'll tell you, I was difficult, I was difficult, but I wanted change. You know what I mean? Like if you want change, if you want it to be different, whatever it is, you have to be willing to be self-aware. And you don't just wake up self-aware, okay? You have to, like, there were many times that we would talk about something, and we would talk about my reaction and my emotion during that reaction, and I would not agree with her. And I would roll my eyes, and I would be like, no, that's not true. Like, I'm like that because, and I would try to validate myself in every chance I could, okay? I didn't just say, oh, okay, that's why. You're right, I shouldn't. And then the next day I didn't do it. That's not how it was, okay? I would try to make her see my point. No, but see, he did this. So I responded like that. I need to make him stop doing that. Well, that's not how it works, okay? That's not how it works. So I would leave there and I would spend the next week, 2 weeks, month, however long it was till I saw her again, going over that, self-evaluating, looking for things that would come up in between those sessions. I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, let me stop and think about it. Oh, this is what she's talking about. And I'd go back to that next appointment and I'd be like, okay, so I applied this and I looked at that and I self-evaluated this, and she was always right. Okay? And once I fully took control of myself, okay, my anxiety and my reactions, okay, my emotions, when I had that under control, the relationships that angered me the most no longer did, and they got better. And the things that people would do that would cause me irritation and anger didn't go away. But the anger and irritation did. So I learned how to no longer react. I didn't have to react. I was responding. And when I responded, I gained respect. And the relationship changed. All the things that I dislike were still there, but I could now approach it in a different manner. And I could now emotionally disconnect from it and handle it from a perspective that did not tie in anger and agitation, okay? But I never would have gotten there if I wasn't self-aware, if I wasn't willing to peel back the layers, okay? It's easy to deny, okay? It's so easy to say, no, that's not me. That's easy, okay? That is so easy. It's hard to say, maybe part of the problem is me. That's hard, okay? That's hard. But when you do it, when you spend time doing it, and for every person that's different, I mean, I highly recommend a therapist, and I will forever, because therapy has been life-saving for me. But you can journal. One thing I did when I was going through this, and my therapist would say, okay, well, if you're getting angry this much at work, do you ever think maybe you shouldn't be working there? I'm like, no, I don't think that. Like, I like my job. I'm good at my job. But, and I'm like, well, how often am I getting angry? How often am I getting agitated? And what are the things that are causing that? So I would log that. I would take my phone and in my calendar app, okay, I would if I had a day where I was angry and agitated, I would just put in that calendar the angry face emoji. And beside that in the notes, or however it was set up, I could put who or with what, or whatever the thing was that agitated or angered me. And by October, okay, so I started therapy in June. By October, I had one emoji in 2 months. The only thing that changed in that time frame was me working on myself. June, I started therapy. October through November, I had one angry emoji. Now, I don't know if I would have done that from the beginning, I probably would have had at least 3 angry emojis a week, I bet. Okay? So that was huge for me. But that's one way you can determine if there's a pattern in your life. It doesn't have to be angry. Okay, it doesn't have to be anger. It could be sadness. It could be whatever it is that you got going on. How often do you say to yourself, man, I wish I had this, or man, I wish I could do that? If you're having the same pattern of you're wishing for something, or you wish you could do something, you wish you had something, you wish you could whatever, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I wish I could have a boat so I could go out on the river. But I really don't mean that. I really don't want a boat. Maybe that sunny day, it looked nice to go out in the river and sunbathe on the boat, which really wouldn't do that because I would probably vomit. But that's not what I mean. Like if you're saying, oh, you're living paycheck to paycheck, or your pants are just getting tighter and tighter, whatever. Maybe log your emotions. That for me, that's very helpful. When I have a repetitive pattern happening, I start to log. Journaling is great. Journaling is really good at helping you see patterns, if there's patterns in yourself. And there's lots of things, there's lots of websites you can go to. Look up self-awareness, how to be more self-aware. When you are more self-aware, then you become more in control of your emotions and your behaviors. And that's when the things around you change, okay? I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that I ever did for myself, was accepting that what part of the problem was how I was responding and reacting to things. That's huge. That is huge. Okay? I'm still an argumentative person. I'm still going to argue with what you say if I don't agree with it, or if I need you to make me understand it. I do still come across as argumentative when I'm trying to make you prove your point to me. That's my personality, and your personality is your personality. You're not going to change your personality. But there are things within your personality that you can work on, that you can, when you're aware of them, you can change them. And it makes an amazing impact on your circumstance. It's not coincidence. It is absolutely not coincidence that I lost 155 pounds, that I am able to go work out as many times a week as I want, that I do not come back to the house and check the stove 4 times before leaving town because of my OCD. It's no coincidence of all these things. It's not just because I started anxiety medication after 6 months of therapy. It's not just because I went to therapy. It's not just because I had weight loss surgery. It's not just because of any of those things. It's because I wanted change. It's because I was not accepting where I was as my normal. It's because I wanted better. I wanted to feel better. I wanted something better. I wanted to be different. I wanted it, okay? It's because I went to therapy. It's because I was able to pull back the layers. It's because I was able to self-evaluate and be self-aware. It was because I'm able to identify self-doubt, emotional hunger, anxiety, OCD. I am now able to identify these things as they're happening and gain control in the minute. Okay? And if I can't gain control in a minute, I'm able to not let that cause me to react by binge eating for the next 4 days, reacting by sulking in my bed for the next 4 days because I went off my diet, okay? It's because I did all these things. It's because I continue to research. I'm reading this right now. I just started it yesterday. The Gifts of Imperfection. There's a perfect quote in here. I love it, okay? The universe is not short on wake-up calls. We're just quick to hit the snooze button. It's easy to hit the snooze button, right? It's easy to hit the snooze button. It's easy to say, no, it's just not for me. Nah, it is what it is. This is my life. This is how it is. That's easy. Changing it is hard, but it's so worth it. I could have easily jumped off that spin bike today, walked out, no one would have known. But how would that have made me feel? It would have made me feel, I would have regretted it later. I would have felt like a failure. That would have affected different moods and thoughts for the rest of the day. But during that time, instead, I decided to self-evaluate why I was doing that. Self-doubt, negative self-talk. Why do I always avoid things when they're hard? If it's not hard, it's not changing you. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you, right? I was able to do all those things. You have got to put in the work. You have got to want change. If you don't want change, you're not going to have change. You can change your job. The situation will find you again. You can leave your spouse. The situation will find you again. You can lose weight. You can do a fad diet and lose weight. More times than not, the weight will find you again. There might be an instance here and there that's not true, but it's true for the most part. You have got to change yourself. You have got to figure out what it is inside you that's causing you to react, what's causing you to do this, what's causing this to be like this. Once you do everything in your power to work on yourself, then you can honestly work on the situations around you and determine if that situation is not good for you. Is this job not really a job for me? Do me and my spouse need to go to couples therapy? Is this relationship working? Is the relationship with my child normal, or should I have intervention because, he or she is running wild? Whatever. But you have to work on yourself first. You have to be able to look at it from a level head. And self-awareness, again, gaining control of your emotions and your behaviors and your reactions, is an amazing way to do that. Amazing way to do that. And I'm telling you, from someone who's been through it and who's still going through it, I still go to therapy when I need to. I'm reading as much as I can to really help evolve me, okay? Because even though I am now in a great place, I'm emotionally in the best place I've ever been. My weight-wise, I'm the best place I've ever been. I'm in a really good place, but that doesn't mean I'm settling. I went from being severely anxious, obsessive compulsive, with a touch of depression at 336 pounds after a 100-pound weight gain. I went from that to being a mental health advocate, a bariatric surgery advocate, in control of my emotions, in control of my anxiety, in control of my OCD. 185 pounds is what I currently weigh. I have a 155-pound weight loss. Because I went from that to this, and that's amazing, and it feels great, but I'm going to keep going. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I forget how he quoted. His name's Les Brown. He's an amazing podcaster. He's an amazing motivational speaker. If you listen to podcasts, you should look him up. And there's another one, Gary Vee, who I love. But Les Brown said, we're all born unique. We're all born unique. But there's a very small percentage of us who actually work towards being what makes us stand out and being what we were supposed to be, being what we were born to be. I'm not settling here. Don't settle. You don't need to settle. Research, read, learn about it. Figure it out. You're totally worth it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get off now, but thanks for watching. Make sure you let me know that you were here, and go ahead and hit that share and spread the love on your wall. See ya.